podcast. It is me, Sal, MrBoxingguru. Guys, welcome back to another episode. I think it was, did we hit 50 yet? Something like that. But again, that great music that you guys just heard was from Los Anaya, Losanaya. That's Los Anayas, folks out of Texas. Good folks, good guys. Make sure you guys give them a follow on Instagram and whatnot. I think it's Los Anaya music. Again, this is the, I believe, what's the second show of the year. This is, we're actually going to talk about fights that happened this week. Interesting fights. We had, of course, a main event, and we had girl boxing too. So we'll get to it a little later. But first things first. From Texas on the Zone. Yes, on the app, the streaming app that everybody complains about. But let me talk about that first. Everybody complains about the Zone, but it's not the Zone, guys. It's your streaming network. So every time you're talking shit about the Zone doesn't work, it's not that. Just make sure you guys reset your modem before any major fight like anything else. Remember, you're streaming everything. Your internet is gonna take a lot more internet to get everything going. So do yourself a favor. Again, like I said, reset your modem and whatnot, and your fight night should be flawless. But let's get to it. From Texas on the Zone, Jaime Munguia stops Gary O'Sullivan. A fight that for some reason most thought it was gonna end a lot quicker. And I don't understand why. I mean, I get it because the way Lemieux knocked him down, but I think it was just carelessness of O'Sullivan. That what he did versus Lemieux, I think they both they decided to throw any type of technique out the window. Whoever landed the best punch was the one that won. And it was a cold punch. It was a first round knockout when he fought Lemieux, and this wasn't going to happen to with Munguia. I mean, with Munguia, it had to be an accumulation of punches. At the end of the day, yes, Munguia's a big kid, but it's his first time as a full-fledged middleweight. Again, this is Munguia's first fight at middleweight, so it was meant to be a test. This is what I call responsible matchmaking. Yes, you use to a certain extent Gary O'Sullivan for a guy like Munguia. You always use the old horse versus the younger horse, and sort of to, I guess you could say, to put a name on the Young Bucks resume. But also to test the waters. You don't want to put them in against any of the monsters. And personally, I think these are the types of fight that Munguia should continue to fight. Boxing fans, for some reason, can enjoy something very much because they're already jumping to the next thing. Munguia is a very fun fighter to watch. Munguia is meant to be hit. Munguia is meant to hit. And he's not a defensive wizard. He's a fighter's fighter. He's this generation, maybe a step above of Brandon Rios. And that's no knock on him or Brandon Rios, but these are the type of fun fighters that unfortunately, because of the generation we're stuck in, we don't get to really sit back and just enjoy. We're always too worried about a pound for pound list. We're always too worried about, oh yeah, but he did great versus. And I saw this a lot online. He did great versus a guy like O'Sullivan, that's been knocked out before. But how is he going to do with the Charlos? Oh, how is he going to do with Golovkin? How is he going to do with Canelo? Shit, you already know how he's going to do. So why not use your imagination as boxing fans and search for that perfect opponent where it's going to give you a great war. And again, I'll reference Brandon Rios again. When Brandon Rios was coming up, there were a lot of fighters that were much better than Brandon Rios. But when you grab a guy like, for example, Alvarado, which they made fight of the year type of fights, you can help but love those type of fights. The fans weren't there because they were pound for pound guys. The fans were there. They filled up these StubHub arenas and these Vegas arenas because they just wanted to see a good brawl, something that unfortunately we're not used to seeing. In my opinion, that's a little bit of what we saw with Gary O'Sullivan and Jaime Munguia. These are the type of fights we should just sit back and enjoy. I don't care what level they're in, who's rating him. Rate the fighters yourself. Enjoy these type of fights. We don't get them anymore. Very seldom do we get these. Enjoy them. Now, we have to get creative, like I said. Of course, the Charlos, it's not even worth putting Charlo and Munguia in the same sentence, much less in the same ring. Canelo, same thing. Especially Canelo being now considered a big middleweight, even if his stature is a bit short. Same with Golovkin. So you have to look to see, hey, you know what can be the right opponent for a guy like Munguia? What type of would it be like a guy moving up from 154 to 160? Should we go for the bottom half of the middleweight division? Those are the things that you have to almost look to see what actually makes what makes sense for these type of fighters. A Rosado fight would be great. A fight like for Munguia, a fight at 160 pounds for him. Again, these type of fighters are what makes sense. Fighters like go through Triple G's resume. Those type of fighters, the Gil the Wades of the world. Those are the fun fighters that I think will make for good fights for Munguia. So the matchmakers have to be creative. I think they're doing a great job when it comes to Munguia. So I'll ask you guys this: who would you pick for Munguia's next fight at 160? Like I said, ideally, I would bring maybe a guy like Hugo Centeno. That's not the strongest fighter, but is going to give him good rounds. Those type of Willie Monroe, those type of fighters that are going to create some sort of angle that he's going to have to chase around. Because when Munguia's hunting, he's a really, really good fighter. I like him when he boxes too, but again, I would rather see a guy like Munguia as a hunter. And I think him versus Willie Monroe will be a great fight. Again, Willie Monroe is still a game fighter, so why not? But as a fighter with little or no crack. Again, we have to get creative because now that Munguia has no belts, and now the pressure's gone. Now the right way to develop this kid, and I love that he doesn't have a belt anymore. The pressure isn't there. The pressure is, I got to fight this mandatory. Well, you know what? Those mandatories were getting a little tough at 154. And you can't say no to them because, again, you hold a belt. So it's not only him making, even if he didn't have problem with the weight, I'm glad he moved up because now he gets to really develop into the great fighter. Well, not great fighter, he gets to develop as a fighter. I don't think he has, but again, we just need to enjoy this kid. The co-main event, switching gears a bit, the co-main event was a girl fight. A fight that, honestly, and not to be a jerk or anything, but I'm not going to sit here and talk about women's boxing like it's the next great thing because, honestly, it hasn't developed itself to be just that. Very seldom do you get a decent fight. But without exception, this Saturday, not Friday, but this Saturday, we actually got a decent scrap. And what I mean by decent scrap is Jimenez actually beat DAZN, La Diva, or the Diva, at 168 pounds. So that was pretty neat. It was a good scrap. There was a lot of memes. Anytime there's memes on a fight, it's something good happened, and maybe it's maybe I'm wrong or folks think I'm wrong, but I think when, like, I'll give you an example. I think in late portion of the fight, DAZN's wig started falling off. and again, it's for me. I love trolling folks, so I mean, it was shit. It was instant comedy, and it was hilarious. But it also made me, in a way, pull back a little because I'm like, oh man, you can't really tease a girl like that. But it was funny, her wig fell off. They snatched that shit off. She looked like a goddamn treasure trove. But it shows you the vulnerability of a woman. I mean, you can't really, at the end of the day, these I mean, they're still girls, man. So it's kind of tough making fun of them, So, and not only that, but the opponent. The opponent already looked big. It's I guess a success story. I guess you could say. You have a girl that was a big girl, and especially for me and my so-called weight loss journey that I'm going through. A girl that ends up campaigning as a middleweight again. Like we all know, there's not many women that are over 200 plus. So for a woman to be 200 pounds is a huge thing. So technically, Alejandra Jimenez was the first heavyweight champion for Mexico. Gradually, she kept on losing weight. She kept on developing her craft and ended up at 168 pounds, which is, for her frame, I mean, she looked right for it. But, I mean, to the, I guess, inexperienced eye, you can't help but to say, is that really a woman? I mean, again, and I don't mean to be disrespectful or anything. I mean, you guys know when I want to be an asshole and a piece of shit, and you guys know when I kind of stand back and saying, is this dude really beating up a girl? Because I got that feeling when DAZN was trying to at least punch. Alejandra Jimenez, and it almost seemed like the punches bounced back. She wasn't doing anything like she was hitting a man, and that's what I kind of saw. I'm like, dude, this girl Alejandra Jimenez, just to paint a picture for those folks that didn't see her, she resembled even her fighting style to Margarito. Very, very slow, punches very wide, but very clubbing. It seems like every time she touched DAZN, it moved her, pushed her back, and every time the punches were going the other way around when DAZN was hitting Jimenez, they almost bounced back from like she was hitting a bigger man. I don't know if this is because, again, Jimenez was used to campaigning at 200 pounds, and now she's campaigning almost 40 pounds south of that, so the punches aren't taking any effect. But again, that's what it looked like. And then the post-fight interview happens, and I freaked out a little more because I consider myself, I don't think I have a squeaky voice. I mean, maybe I'm gonna bass it up a bit, but I think Alejandra Jimenez's voice is deeper than mine. And all of a sudden, she sits back up and says, "Sí, esta pelea fue para México, el mejor país del mundo. Tengo el entrenador más grande del mundo." I was like, whoa. So that deep voice came out like, where is this coming from? I mean, like, if and again, I hate to, put the rope around my neck here, but she resembled a man. Like, again, there was no feminine feature about him that again, to my ignorant naked eye, says, you know what? If I was the diva, I would ask for an investigation. Say, you know what? This girl, I need to check those testosterone levels. Because, again, the voice she sounded tougher than fucking Cyborg. And Cyborg, I think she packs more testosterone than I do. And that to me, again, that's when fights, it almost seemed like the fight was unfair. Like, again, you're getting a good little fighter versus a good big fighter. and I'm all up for gender neutral, but I mean, a guy can't be fighting a woman. It's just not fair. The strength, the physicality, it's completely different. But that's what it seemed like if a man was fighting a woman, and on top of that, deserve to lose her goddamn wig. That shit was fucking hilarious. I think even Snoop Dogg posted it on his Instagram. So that was something else. So she lost her wig and she lost her belt. Kind of sucked for Deserve. But again, I know it's easier said than done. But the fact that I'm talking about, that a guy that's really not pro women boxing, at least not right now, because there's not a lot of substance to it, means that there's movement in women boxing. Again, I'm all out for it. If it's going to be entertaining as this was, why not? On the other hand, on Friday on Showtime, we had another girl boxing fight. It was Clarissa Shields. What did Clarissa Shields fight? Did Shields fight Ivana Habazin? But we'll get to that in a bit. Just to finish off the zone card, we had Tanahara and Joshua Franco both winning. Joshua Franco won by knockout in the ninth. So good for Joshua. Look, when Joshua's at his right weight, and I don't think he get bigger than what is it, 115, I believe he fought at. That's his weight class. That's what he should campaign at when he went up in weight and fought Navarrete. What is it? Negrete. I'm sorry, Oscar Negrete. It was way out of his weight, his comfort zone. I'm glad he's back at his weight, because at least, with Negrete, I mean, there was not much he could have done, versus the bigger guy. And obviously, he doesn't pack the power to do anything to him. As far as Tanahara goes, I really like this kid. I think this kid might have hit the ceiling. When I first was introduced to Tanahara, watching him here at Velasco and then of course Indio, I really liked the kid. I really liked what he was doing with his jab, what he was able to do with a 4-round fighter. But it seemed like he stopped progressing. One thing I did like about his last fight was that he started inside fighting. I know a lot of people don't like inside fighting, but it's an acquired taste and it's an acquired skill. I think sometimes he has to dig a little deeper. He's a beautiful boxer, but he has to dig a little deeper to get that statement. And I think he tried doing it. I'm not sure if he was completely successful, but if that's what we're going to get from him a little more, I like it. I like to see guys add more wrinkles to their game and whatnot. Why not? And again, just to retract on women's boxing, sorry guys, but I have to. Shields versus Ivana Habazin fought. Shields to women boxing has to be, it's according to folks that talk about it, it's she's the next best thing. She's obviously she's the undisputed champion at 168, one of those. And now she moved down. I think she was at undisputed champion at 168. Now she moved to 160, and I think she became a champ there as well. But yeah, I mean, versus who? Somebody mentioned it, that they're comparing her to guy boxing, and again, nothing wrong with that. But if we just are gonna base things on BoxRec, there's about 2,000 fighters, per division. And when a guy becomes the number one guy in that division, again, that means he was better than at least 1,999. And again, we're including, guys that are 4-rounders to guys that are, 6, 8, 10, and 12-rounders. And you're the best at that division. For women boxing, specifically for Clarissa, there's about 30 people in her whole division. That's whole division in the world. So it's not going to take an amazing talent to get there, to get where she's at. So she's getting accolades of being the best, but there's only a handful of fighters. So that's where we kind of contradict each other. So is it do we want the same clout that men boxing won, or is it just going to take time? for it to get around. Look, I think Clarissa Shields is an amazing athlete. I think she's great, but she's just not a very likable person. And because she's not a very likable person, it's easy to critique a person like that. I'll tell you one thing. I enjoyed the fight between Jimenez and La Diva more than I did anything with Shields and, again, whoever is that she fought. But yeah, that's it for that. Guys, this podcast, I wanted to do it as small as possible. I'm going to try to do something at least once a week. Wasn't looking at the calendar, but nothing particularly pops up saying, okay, you know what, let's talk about this, let's talk about that. I don't really see nothing in the next week. Well, we got fights on Showtime, I guess. No. Yeah, we have fights on Showtime on the 17th from Iowa. And, yeah, we got fights on ESPN as well. Elder Storm Alvarez is fighting Michael Seals again. We got Felix Verdejo's fighting back, so that's good for him. This from Verona, New York. But again, it seems like a pretty quiet weekend. We got fights on Fox again. Oh, yes, we got Julian Williams, the unified. He is a unified champion at 154, and he's making a mandatory defense versus Jolson Rosario. I think some of us are aware of Rosario. I think it's a fight that Julian should be able to take fairly easy. But PBC lifestyle, man. PBC lifestyle. That, of course, we got Joey Spencer in the fight on the card, which is, one of PBC's upcoming prospects. Other than that, that's pretty much it. Guys, like, I try to put out this podcast, like I said, every week. I really, really, really hope you guys enjoy it. You guys listen to it and whatnot. Again, there's going to be a short one, nice and sweet. But thank you guys for listening. Make sure you guys share, guys. Make sure you guys like. Make sure you guys leave a review. Remember, we are on Spotify. We are on Spreaker. We are on YouTube. We are on iTunes and everywhere else that podcasts are listened to. Guys, with that said, thank you guys so much. And this has been the MrBoxingguru podcast. Thank you so much. De aquellos se sorprendieron. Si quieren pueden matarme, que yo ya vengué a mis viejos. Dicen que lo fusilaron, otros que se fueron.